Hello, and welcome to Unitarian Universalism in Southeastern Arizona. I am Reverend Bethany Russell-Lowe, and I have the great pleasure of serving as the settled minister at the Unitarian Universalist Church of Tucson. I'm so glad that you have found your way to Unitarian Universalism and to our congregation. In this video, I will give you a cursory overview of the important elements of any Unitarian Universalist congregation, and then at the end I'll point you towards some resources where you can dig deeper to learn for yourself more about what sparks your interest in our faith. Let's start with the symbol of Unitarian Universalism. The Flaming Chalice, like the one to my right, is the primary symbol of Unitarian Universalism. We light a chalice at the beginning of just about every worship service and at many gatherings where Unitarian Universalists come together to do the ministry of living out our shared faith. The symbol of the Flaming Chalice was initially worn on the shirts of Unitarians working with the Unitarian Service Committee to help people escape persecution during World War II. And then in the 1980s, it was transformed into the three-dimensional form of a chalice we now see in just about every one of our congregations. Here in southeastern Arizona, we have 4 congregations that have joined together with a shared identity called the Baja Four. Since the pandemic started, since mid-March 2020, we have started worshiping together on Sunday mornings and offering shared programming together. We are doing this because we firmly believe that we are stronger together. The 4 congregations that make up the Baja Four are the Unitarian Universalist Church of Tucson on the east side, Sky Island Unitarian Universalist Church in Sierra Vista, Borderlands Unitarian Universalist in Amado, and Mountain Vista Unitarian Universalist Congregation in Northwest Tucson. Together, online services are offered at 10:30 a.m. on UUCT's Facebook page or YouTube channel, or you can watch the services later at your own convenience. All 4 congregations are called Unitarian Universalists, so what does that mean? Unitarian Universalism has 2 major theological roots. Prior to 1961, Unitarianism and Universalism were separate Protestant traditions. Unitarians had a long history of freedom of thought and conscience. They encouraged individuals to use their own reason and their own faith to interpret Scripture and to chart their own spiritual or religious life. Universalists believed that everyone was inherently good, and therefore all would go to heaven eventually. In 1961, the 2 traditions merged to become the post-Christian denomination, which accepts people of all spiritual and religious traditions into its membership. We are people of many ages, many beliefs, many backgrounds, and we have some core shared values. Unitarian Universalists promote 7 principles. Number 1 is the inherent worth and dignity of every person. 2 is justice, equity, and compassion in human relations. 3 is acceptance of one another and encouragement to spiritual growth in our congregations. 4 is a free and responsible search for truth and meaning. 5, the right of conscience and the use of the democratic process within our congregations and in society at large. 6, the goal of world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all. And 7, respect for the interdependent web of all existence, of which we are a part. Additionally, an exciting change is being considered across our faith, and some congregations have already adopted this important 8th principle, which speaks to our commitment to anti-racist work. It reads, journeying towards spiritual wholeness by working to build a diverse, multicultural, beloved community by our actions that accountably dismantle racism and other oppressions in ourselves and our institutions. If those 7 or 8 principles are the ethical foundation of our faith, the 6 sources are the spiritual foundation of our faith. The 6 sources attempt to capture this breadth of inspiration that Unitarian Universalists have, and they read as such. Direct experience of that transcending mystery and wonder affirmed in all cultures, which moves us toward a renewal of the spirit and an openness to the forces which create and uphold life. Words and deeds of prophetic people, which challenge us to confront powers and structures of evil with justice, compassion, and the transforming power of love. Wisdom from the world's religions, which inspire us in our ethical and spiritual life. Jewish and Christian teachings which call us to respond to God's love by loving our neighbors as ourselves. Humanist teachings, which counsel us to heed the guidance of reason and the results of science and warn us against idolatries of the mind and spirit. Spiritual teachings of earth-centered traditions, which celebrate the sacred circle of life and instruct us to live in harmony with the rhythms of nature. As a Unitarian Universalist, you will have the opportunity to explore your own spiritual or religious path, to define what you believe and to put those beliefs into action. You'll be part of a community that focuses on love and a shift towards the beloved community paradigm. You will learn that you are never alone and that we are here for you always. Unitarian Universalism is focused on covenant, not creeds. A covenant is simply an agreement about how we will be together when we are together. The 7 principles, which you just heard a few minutes ago, are actually our congregation's covenant with the Unitarian Universalist Association, our denomination. Unitarian Universalist congregations and committees and groups often form their own covenants for their work together. According to the Commission on Appraisal, a task force assigned to study this concept, quote, "A covenant is a mutual, sacred promise between individuals or groups to stay in relationship, care about each other, and work together in good faith." In the Unitarian Universalist tradition, we seek to raise the we above the I, the community above the individual. As seekers, we willingly choose to love each other and stay in relationship over and over, again and again. In this way, we may break promises, but by learning into the transformative power of our faith, we can begin again in love. Another important concept to understand is congregational polity. This is something that speaks to the form of congregational governance that we practice. It means that as a member of a Unitarian Universalist congregation, we each have the responsibility and the opportunity to make certain decisions about what happens in our congregation. The elected lay leaders on the Board of Trustees have responsibility for many decisions, but the membership holds the responsibility for the really important decisions. For example, when a new minister is needed, the leadership appoints a search committee, and it is this committee's job, after input and research, to recommend to the congregation who should be considered as their next minister. And all members have a vote in whether or not to accept that minister. Congregational polity also means the church is self-supporting through the financial stewardship of its members. So your generosity of time, talent, and treasure is essential. Being part of a Unitarian Universalist congregation is an invitation to you to support our aspiration of becoming a beloved community where we center marginalized voices and work towards inclusion of all people in our community. We are all connected, and we are all working towards our collective liberation, which simply means that none of us are free until all of us are free. Unitarian Universalists have been on the forefront of inclusion of LGBTQIA+ folks for over 40 years. Many members of our community are LGBTQIA+, and we seek to create a sacred home where the fullness of everyone's identity is honored, welcomed, and cherished. Unitarian Universalists are committed to actively seeking peace, justice, and compassion for all people. There are several ways you might become engaged and come together with other Unitarian Universalists working for justice. There are opportunities to work with local partners in the community who focus on homelessness and feeding the hungry, immigration and refugees, mass incarceration, fair and free elections, anti-racism, and many other important issues of our time. Twice a month, UUCT has what we call a Share the Plate, where we take an offering from our members, and half of that offering goes to support the work of the congregation, and the other half goes directly to nonprofit partners in the area. Religious education is a vital component of any Unitarian Universalist congregation. There are programs for children with vibrant curriculum, activities for family, and also opportunities for adult learning, because as Unitarian Universalists, we believe that faith development happens across one's lifespan. We offer opportunities for education, fellowship, and service towards the goal of helping our members deepen into their faith as Unitarian Universalists. Those interested can check out our website under the Education tab or contact the Director of Lifespan Faith Development, Jamili Omar. If anything I've shared in this video sparks your interest and you want to learn more, I invite you to engage in the New to UU Dive Deeper into UU document, which has more videos for you to independently learn about our faith. This is available on our website, uuctucson.org, under the Newcomer tab. You are also invited to an online Newcomer UU Orientation, hosted by our welcoming and membership team, which I will also attend. Bring your questions and share a little with other newcomers about the path that brought you to Unitarian Universalism. These orientations are generally held quarterly and will be advertised on the website and in our weekly updates. And of course, you are welcome to join us for Sunday worship on our Facebook page or our YouTube channel. Social hour at 11:30 on Sundays on Zoom is another great way to meet members of our congregation. And make sure you have completed a guest information card and signed up for our weekly newsletter, both accessible through our website, so that you can stay in touch and you can keep track of what is going on in our congregations. I look forward to meeting you soon.